Okay, so here we go. This is going to be a short one. A couple of weeks ago, somebody commented on this image on my Instagram asking for a tutorial on how I made this spaceship kind of explode. And it looks super complicated, and the great thing is, it's not. And I've been having a lot of fun with it, doing these kind of, just taking existing models that I have and then using this technique to explode them. Or the great thing is that you can use you can animate all the parameters of this technique. So you can make animations like this, which is pretty cool. All this stuff is made with the same technique. So what I'm talking about is PolyFx, which is at the very bottom of your MoGraph menu. So you'll see it right there. I didn't really know what the hell this did until I kind of found it by accident a few weeks ago. So for a simple example, here's a DAZ model. You can download DAZ for free. Excuse me. Here's just like a basic DAZ 3D. I think this is like a Genesis 3 model. I'll just show you really quickly what the PolyFx thing does. The trick with PolyFx is that all of the polygons have to be connected. So for when you import a DAZ model as an OBJ, you're going to get a bunch of these. You don't want that. That's not going to work. So you're going to have to select all of these and do connect objects delete, and that'll just give you one. Now this whole thing is, if we look at it, it's all just one thing, so that's great. The way that PolyFx works is you take the PolyFx tag, you put it under the object that you want to affect, and nothing happens. What the fuck? That's because PolyFx doesn't do anything by itself. It needs an effector, and the effectors can be anything, but the one that I've had the most fun with is the shader effector. So type shader, and now we should see something happen. We don't. I don't know why. Oh, it just made everything slightly larger, which is kind of cool. You might want that, but usually I use the position. And you can see now, as I change the y-axis on the position, our figure is, or go negative, our figure is, it's basically taking every polygon that this mesh is made out of, and it's translating it on whatever axis you wish to translate it on. You can also do this with rotation. You can rotate all these polygons however you want to get a different effect. The real fun starts when you play with fall off. So right now the fall off is infinite, so it spans the entire plane of this thing. If we change it to like a where is it? Sphere. You can start to get really interesting. Like look, her feet. What's happening with her feet? Oh my god. Oh no. Her feet are starting to, you can move this fall off and have some interesting effects there. So that's the basics of this, and you can play around. I'm sure the fall off settings are pretty straightforward. You can change the size of this fall off. You just want to affect a plane. You can do that. That's kind of cool to see her face kind of melt there. That's sort of interesting. But anyway, so that's the basics of it. I just want to show you really quickly what I've been doing in another project file here. Let's see if it doesn't. Please don't crash. Please don't crash. what I have set up in this other project file, if it, there we go. This is a model that I made. It's like a spaceship type model. This is what it looks like normally. I'm gonna bring in the Octane window just so you guys can see what we're doing here. Hold on a second. So yeah, here's the, okay, so let's get rid of the daylight so you can see what I have here. And I also have clouds. Let's get rid of the clouds. So basically I have some mountain landscape and then this basic spaceship. The material that I'm using to get this kind of translucent glowy effect that this guy was asking me for the tutorial for is a mixed material that's basically this glossy kind of black matte and gloss mix mixed with a rough specular material that I have fucked with the not the film index, I believe it's the film width, right? So you move this film width and you get kind of different colors on your translucent material, which is a lot of fun to play around with. This is a whole nother, if somebody wants a tutorial on this, I'll make one about how to do the mixed materials and whatever, but so that's that. See, look, now it's blue. So I did the same thing that I did with that DAS model with this spaceship model. So here it is without the PolyFx. When I turn the shader on, you get this kind of whacked out abstract thing. Turn the clouds on. Clouds, come on, here we go. And then daylight. And you know, I don't think this is just for the tutorial. I don't think that this is like going to be passable, but this just sort of shows you what the possibilities are. It's kind of interesting how it breaks up the structure of what you're dealing with here. So I hope this tutorial is helpful. The settings on the daylight is another thing that people were asking me about, and my daylight settings, generally speaking, I deal with a plane that's 6,000 by 6,000. That's my standard. And I usually keep my sun size at 0.1, the power at 3. The medium, I add a fog medium to my scatter medium at about 1800, and this is just personal preference, like things that I've learned. And I leave all this alone. Under scattering, I do float texture, bump that up to 1, and then play around with the phase. And I got this idea from an iDesign tutorial. I forget the dude's name, but it's great. So I hope this tutorial's been helpful, and hope everyone has a fantastic day. Thanks. Bye.